Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Grandpa coming to you from the living room in Jack's Beach. Oop, he slid away from me there. Today we're going to resume in the Net Bible, Reader's Edition. Awesome translation. Today we're going to be in Genesis chapter 32. Now we saw Jacob flee to Paddan Aram. And when he got there, he lived with Laban. He was there for 20 years. Heel catcher, Jacob, was one of these guys that got over on people. But he met his match in Laban. In chapter 31, we saw him leave. God says, it's time. And I'm sure that Jacob thought it was time for a long time. But now God says, go and get. So he's going to head back to the Holy Land. And in fact, when we last saw him, he was just about there. I think he was in Gilead. Sorry, I've done 2 of these videos, and one I was singing, so I don't have much voice left. It's just what's going on. Olive, we're getting ready to leave on Saturday to come see you, so I'm trying to get a lot of this in the can, published, and be able to come out and hold you in my arms and watch your grandmother look in your eyes and immediately fall in love with you. We're going to spoil you, little girl. Trust me. And we'll stick up for you when you're driving your mother crazy. But remember, what happens in Through the Bible with Grandpa stays in Through the Bible with Grandpa. Don't you tell your mother. So we're going to see Jacob in chapter 32 head back to the promised land. But something that you probably thought about was, well, wasn't Esau going to kill him when we last checked in with Esau? And he was. That's why they sent him away. And even though it was 20 years ago, people have long memories. So a couple of things are going to happen here. One, we're going to see Jacob wrestle with, excuse me, quote unquote, a man. So Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. So he left Laban. Laban and his people were there. Jacob and his people were there, and now they both leave. Laban goes back to Paddan Aram. Jacob's going to head back to the Holy Land. So Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he exclaimed, "This is the camp of God." So he named the place Mahanaim, the camp of God. Now, if you remember, when he was traveling out there 20 years ago, he saw a stairway to heaven. And I think he said this is the gate of heaven or something like that. Jacob sent messengers on ahead to his brother Esau in the land of Seir. So Esau is not far from the Holy Land, but he's not in the Holy Land. He's in this mountainous region, kind of next to it, the region of Edom. And that's his country. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you must say to my lord Esau, the messengers. This is what your servant Jacob says." Now remember that the prophecy when they were born, the twins, Esau was born first, so he's the eldest. Jacob was the youngest, but it said that the oldest would serve the youngest. So serving and serve, they're from the same word. So Jacob's like laying it on thick. Your servant Jacob. This is what your servant Jacob says. I have been staying with Laban until now. I have oxen, donkeys, sheep, male and female servants. I have sent this message to inform my Lord so that I might find favor in your sight. So Esau knows that no matter what happens, that he's not going to get the blessing and he's not going to get the birthright. Jacob has both of those things. One has to do with physical possessions, and the other has to do with the family, taking over the family. And Jacob has both of those. The messengers returned to Jacob and said, "We went to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you and has 400 men with him." Jacob was very afraid and upset. So what do you think Jacob's going to do? Well, let's see. So he divided, sorry about this. So he divided the people who were with him into two camps, as well as the flocks, the herds, and the camels. If Esau attacks one camp, he thought, then the other camp will be able to escape. So he's still the heel catcher. He's still trying to get over. He's scheming. He's a schemer. But you know what Jacob should do? Let's see what he does next. Then Jacob prayed. Ah, Jake. Not Jake from State Farm. Jake from the land of Israel. That's what you needed to do. You just need to pray and then put it in God's hands. And he prayed, "O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, O Lord, you said to me, return to your land and to your relatives, and I will make you prosper. I am not worthy of all the faithful love you have shown your servant. With only my walking stick, I crossed the Jordan, but now I have become two camps." So he's only two camps because he split his people in half. God has a sense of humor. It's like, whoa, but now look at me, I'm two camps. Like, dude, you could be four camps or 20 camps or one camp. You can split them any way you want. You have X amount of stuff. So you have half X over here and half X over here. Rescue me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esau, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, as well as the mothers with their children. But you said, I will certainly make you prosper, and will make your descendants like the sand and the seashore, too numerous to count. Now, there's a practical lesson here, and I try not to put too much of myself in this, but right now I'm going to. What Jacob's doing is okay. I make fun of him. Wait until we get to Joseph. I'm going to make a lot of fun of him because he's a mamby-pamby mama's boy, and like Jacob is. Jacob's a mama's boy. His grandpa doesn't like mama's boys. I loved my mom, but I wasn't a mama's boy. But he is saying, look, you gave me a promise, and I want you to keep the promise. But in his heart, he wonders, like, well, is he going to keep the promise? Like, you said you were going to make my descendants like the sand on the seashore. But I don't know if I believe you. And that's okay. That's going to happen in your life where God's going to make a promise to you and you're not going to believe him. But trust me, he made the heavens and the earth just by almost snapping his fingers. He breathed the word, like poof, and everything came into existence. So he can take care of your brother Esau. Jacob stayed there that night. So he's still wrestling with this idea that Esau's coming with 400 men, and he doesn't know whether to say, okay, God's going to protect me, or, yeah, God says he's going to protect me, but I have to protect myself. Jacob stayed there that night. Then he sent a gift to his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams. And ewes are female rams, more like sheep. 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. He entrusted them to his servants, who divided them into herds. He told his servants, pass over before me and keep some distance between one herd and the next. He instructed the servant leading the first herd, when my brother Esau meets you and asks, to whom do you belong? Where are you going? Whose herd are you driving? Then you must say, they belong to your servant Jacob. They have been sent as a gift to my lord Esau. In fact, Jacob himself is behind us. So what he's doing is he's going, yeah, God, I know you promised me, and that's good. But I'm going to split it into, I forget how many herds, and just hit them with wave after wave of gifts. And let's see what Esau does. And then it's like, here's a gift, a whole bunch of camels and donkeys and sheep and goats and cows. Here. Oh, here's some more. Here's some more. And oh, by the way, Jacob's back there. So you're going to get hit with wave after wave of presents. And then you get Jacob. Let's see if we can soften you up with these presents. He also gave these instructions to the second and third servants, as well as all those who were following the herds. So it was 3 herds. You must say the same thing to Esau when you meet him. You must also say, in fact, your servant Jacob is behind us. Jacob thought, I will first appease him by sending a gift ahead of me. After that, I will meet him. Perhaps he will accept me. So the gifts were sent on ahead of him while he spent that night in the camp. So he's sending all this towards Esau. Esau's coming with 400 men. Jacob's sending all this stuff out. This is a fascinating chapter of the Bible. I love this chapter. It's like all this deviousness going on. But wait until you see Esau, what Esau says. Actually, we might not. It might be next chapter where you get to see what Esau says. We'll see. During the night, Jacob quickly took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream, along with all his possessions. So Jacob was left alone. So here he is. He's done all this scheming, and he's sent everybody ahead. And he's the last one there. He's protecting him. He's not protecting anybody else. He's protecting him. But now he's going to find himself in a wrestling match. Then a man wrestled with him until daybreak. So it's nighttime. It's like maybe midnight. And so for 6 hours, quote unquote, man wrestles with him. When the man saw that he could not defeat Jacob, he struck the socket of his hip, so that the socket of Jacob's hip was dislocated while he wrestled with him. Then the man said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." Trust me, this man could have whooped Jacob's butt, but he chose not to. "I will not let you go," Jacob replied, "unless you bless me." So just like he took the blessing from Esau as the oldest, now he wants this man to bless him. So let's see what the man does. Then the man asked him, "What is your name?" He answered, "Yaakov," Jacob. "No longer will your name be Yaakov," the man said, "but Israel, because you have fought with God and with men, and you have prevailed." So all the scheming and everything, it all came down to one-on-one with God. And that's what your life is. Then Jacob asked, "Please tell me your name." "Why do you ask me my name?" the man replied. Then he blessed Jacob there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, explaining, "Certainly I have seen God face to face and have survived." And the Punim in Hebrew is the face. And El is God. So the face of God, Peniel. The sun rose over him as he crossed over Penuel. Now this is Penuel, not Peniel. But he was limping because of his hip. That is why to this day the Israelites do not eat the sinew which is attached to the socket of the hip, because he struck the socket of Jacob's hip near the attached sinew. So next, we're going to see Esau's reaction to all the schemes that Jacob's doing, and what happens when they finally get to meet again after 20 years. Peace out.